Rockstar is cool. Today I'm going to show you all of my guitars that I have. There's one guitar that's not currently here, and I'll talk about that later, because maybe I can find a picture of it. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. First up, this is my Jackson Pro Soloist 7-string. This was the first 7-string I ever bought. Up until 2016, I had only played 6-string guitars. When I started getting into a little heavier music, I needed a 7-string because I was wanting the low A. Tell you what, I got lucky and I found a really good buy. This guitar was on eBay. There were a lot of 7-strings that I was looking at the time, like Ibanez, for instance, or like Schecter. And I could play those at my local guitar center. So I knew what those played like. They had this on eBay as B stock. I have no idea what that means. Even now, I don't know what that means. I will say one thing though. It came without the hardware attached to it at all. So when I got the box for the guitar, I had to put it together. Which brings me to what this guitar has on it. So it's got a 3-way switch and it's got a volume and a tone knob, whatever. It actually came with a Floyd Rose special bridge, okay? And that ended up stripping out on me. We'll try to put strings in one day. So I went ahead and bought a real licensed Floyd Rose. Changed my life. The pickups, they came with the guitar as well. I believe these are EMG 707s. I never wanted to change them because from the second I plugged it in to the minute I got the tones out of this thing, the distortion tones are really good. I mean, EMGs sound great with like these metal tones and stuff. Everything's kind of compressed. There's a good balanced amount of low end and high end. For some reason, I have not been able to get a better clean tone out of any of my guitars than this one. So these pickups will probably never change. It's got 24 frets, jumbo frets. And then at the top here, the headstock came with regular Jackson tuning machines. I hate regular tuning machines, hate them. Almost every single guitar I have, I put Schaller locking tuners. So this has 7 of the black tuning machines. I had to put an extra string in the back as well because I kind of like a firm tremolo bar. But interestingly enough, I said this thing got really good tones, distortion and clean. It only runs off of 1 battery. A lot of people like to do like the dual 9-volt setups. I like just the single for this, and it plays better than anything I own. Let's move on to the next guitar. Next up, we have my own super modified Squire Stratocaster. Before you start judging this thing, I will tell you right now, this is a 20th anniversary model. I got this for my birthday. Oh boy, when I was 12, 13 years old. A little bit of backstory behind these guitars. The reason that my dad ended up buying 3 of these things for himself is because it plays different. I'm not sure what it is either. The neck, I mean, just the way it's built just feels different. He has a couple of other Squire Strats and they don't play nearly as well as this one. This particular guitar, unlike a real Fender, is extremely light, but has the solid structure of a real Fender Strat. So that's why I still have this thing, and this thing's awesome. This guitar is modified to shit. You can't even tell. You see this right here? This right here is part of an attachment for a GK3 synth pickup. As you can see, like I have it cut out of the guitar right here for that pickup. I don't have it on here right now because I don't want it to break. I don't want it broken. It does attach right here onto the guitar, but when you put it into a case and stuff, it doesn't like it, if that makes sense. But yes, this had synth access to it. If you've never used synth access, I'm telling you right now, you need to. It's great. Then the bridge. Guess what? The bridge didn't come with this either. This is an LR Baggs piezo bridge. I don't remember how much this bridge was, but I can tell you right now, it has a 9-volt battery that powers it. There was no room in the cavity underneath this pick guard, so we had to make some room for it. There's a little switch right here for that bridge as well that had to be added to the front, and then here's a phase switcher in case you use it in parallel with the pickups themselves. So it only has 1 tone knob and it has 2 volume knobs. That's because this is the master volume for the entire guitar, and then this is the volume for the piezo bridge. So this pickup guard is not originally black, it was white. As you can tell by my 5-way toggle switch here, it still has the white cap. This used to be on one of the other Squire Strats my dad bought. I believe it was also a 20th anniversary, but it was a butterscotch color with a black pick guard. The reason we swapped them out, and that now has the white pick guard, is because I bought the Seymour Duncan Hot Rails pickup. I needed a humbucker sound, and at the time, I think all I had was the single coil. That was it. So if I'm getting into metal, it wasn't working out, if you know what I'm saying. When I bought this Hot Rails pickup, I didn't realize I had a choice to get a white one or a black one, so I went with the black on accident. Didn't work well with that white pick guard, so we had to flip it out. Same thing goes for these 2 single coil pickup guards. One thing I'm gonna mention is my cats knocked it over at one point, and there's now a big old split on the paint right here. It's kind of funny to look at. I remember the day I walked into my room and there's the guitar just sitting on its headstock. Oh, that was real fun. It only has 21 frets and they're medium frets. They're not even jumbo. This guitar actually doesn't have the Schaller locking tuners. I actually am using the Fender locking tuners. All of these guys are just making a really good effect guitar. Not so much like a heavy rhythm guitar. Enough of this one. This is my Ibanez Gio. I don't know what the exact serial number is because it no longer exists on this guitar. But as you can see, even though I called it a Gio, it doesn't have the logo for a Gio. And I'm gonna explain that in just a second. When I bought this in 2018, this was probably the cheapest Ibanez you could buy. It used to be like this sparkly metal flake looking blue. Headstock was black, but the whole neck used to be this maple color. The reason this guitar isn't blue anymore is because my dad builds motorcycles for a living, and I asked him to customize it for me. And I don't know if my camera does a good job at showing this. This guitar is a nice pearl color. It goes from a red, nice magenta red, to a salmon color, depending on how you look at it. But he painted this black shield, just like a John Petrucci style Music Man guitar, but he also gave it a red pinstripe. This guitar doesn't really play amazing because at the end of the day, it is like a cheap Ibanez that just has a coat of paint on it, but it does have a couple modifications that are absolutely necessary. Here's what they are. This is still the same Ibanez bridge it came with. I wish I could change it out, but I don't want to hurt any of the paint that was put on around it. That's just fear of me not being careful. It has the same 5-way switch that it had before. These chrome volume and tone knobs didn't come with the guitar. Originally they were a rounded black, but I didn't really like the way they looked with this guitar, so I swapped them out with a Telecaster that my dad had. The only real modification to this guitar are the pickups. This is the JB bridge and this is the jazz neck. I did have to take out the old Ibanez ones. They were trash. I know it has a good amount of output, but it's got a lot of ass. And then the neck pickup, that sounds good. But I do like them in general. It's just this particular guitar with how light the wood is and everything, I don't think it's the best pairing. Tell me what your favorite pickups are in the comments below. Mine are my 707s. Of course, the Schaller locking tuners. I think the chrome hardware looks beautiful against the black finish here. That reminds me, when we had this painted, I had to get a stencil for Ibanez that we then painted on. So that's not even the original logo. And the reason I wanted that done is because I hated having Ibanez and then Gio under it. It just told somebody that it was a cheap ass guitar. Look, I'm telling everybody and I just said I don't want anyone to know. What the fuck? Next, we have my Washburn acoustic. I've never looked at what the model is of this guitar. Oh well. So there's no modifications to this guitar. The only thing to really say about it is, one, it sounds great. The other thing is, it was a gift from a friend. I've actually written a lot of music on this. Music you've never heard. I'm a guitar player, what can I say? This guitar is just awesome the way it is. This Washburn guitar actually sounds really good. And it is so lightweight. I mean, I could probably hold it. Yeah, look at that. I can hold it all the way by the headstock and it's awesome. By the way, if you're liking the video so far, give it a thumbs up. Really helps me out. And lastly, the Music Man Axis Sport. One thing to note, this is an original Axis Sport. I love the single coil sound in this one, so I'm really glad my dad picked this one out. I don't even remember when he bought this. Made in California, USA, baby. Woohoo! This guitar has 21 frets. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I also think this is a very rare guitar. I don't see a whole lot of people strutting it. Usually they've got the Axis Sport too. And enough about that. This guitar is exactly the way it came. It has the same pickups in it. I believe these are DiMarzio, actually. Music Man guitars like this come with the Schaller locking tuners. They were never put onto this. And these strap locks, I forgot. This guitar does have strap locks on it. I never took them off. I think it's because I'm afraid to strip these. My favorite thing about this guitar, to be honest with you, is in its engineering. Having its truss rod adjuster put right here below the neck, oh, game changer. Anyone that says that this is better is fucking lying. Actually, this guitar stays in standard tuning, mostly because that is the best way to play this guitar. Using thicker strings doesn't really do it a whole lot of justice. It is definitely meant for just staying in standard, maybe a half step down. When I was younger, I only had the Squire guitar, so playing this felt like a dream in comparison. This guitar is amazing. The final guitar is not with me. I don't know where it is, to be honest with you. It's an LTD H51. It's a really cheap 24 fret 6-string guitar. I only had the Squire, right? Well, this LTD had 24 frets and they were jumbo frets. Never played anything like that in my life. And it was the first guitar I had that used 2 humbucker pickups. I wrote a lot of music on that guitar actually. And I know that the last time I used it I put really thick strings on it so that it's in like drop B flat or something. So that bitch never stayed in tune. So those are my guitars that I make music with. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Also, let me know what kind of content you want to see. Put it in the comments below for me. I read every one of them, so I will see it. Appreciate you guys watching and have a lovely day.